I am Jerry. Thank you very much. And here with head football coach Mark Helfrich. Want to know his first victory as a head football coach, 66-3 over Nicholls State University. Coach, your thoughts on a real solid win today?
That's a fair word. Solid. I just told the team, welcome to Oregon football. We win 66-3, and there's a little bit of some element of disappointment or improvement or desire to be a little bit better, and that's a good thing. Offensively and defensively off to a great start. Just needed to sustain it there in the second quarter, and for whatever reason didn't. But I don't think we turned the ball over, did we? We'll get an education on the targeting rule and get that all straightened out this week. But overall, definitely pleased.
Yeah, and the line of scrimmage is where it starts. I thought your offensive line did a good job protecting Marcus. And then when they broke through a few times, obviously his legs make him a very, very tough quarterback to corral. But the rushing game, running for 500 yards, 3 running backs over 100 yards, pretty impressive, and it starts in the trenches.
Yeah, those guys have been practicing really well, and sometimes it's hard because of how well our defensive line was playing, or how good our defensive line is. But yeah, we were excited to just get in some game action and I guess to a certain extent see where a couple guys are. We think we know what we have in Marcus and DeAnthony and a couple of those guys, but see Byron in live action, and it was good to see him break a couple. And but yeah, the front played well. Could again few things here and there that we could have done better, but first game again, we'll take it.
And yet to the end. I mean, that's what I see your team doing always to the end, always have in the past, and again today. Played very hard to the end. All the guys that get their opportunities offensively, defensively, special teams, there's no quit in this team. They go all the way.
Well, we sure hope not. There were a couple times again in the second and third quarter, I thought there were some plays there for us to make and could have really just run away with it and I think we played everybody that was eligible to be in there that we aren't planning on redshirting, which is great. Again, no turnovers is great. And now just move on to Virginia.
Sometimes what's expected, you mentioned it in your opening comments, sometimes what's expected of Marcus, high expectations, and he missed a few opportunities there, some guys that were open, that type of deal, but I thought he really finished fast, finished hard, and finished up his possessions in there.
He did, yeah. A couple just kind of lazy feet throws there. Those couple bubble screens. We had a couple other ones that would have been you could have scored on. It would have been huge plays that we just didn't block very well. And so we'll get that cleaned up. But yeah, overall, Marcus played pretty well.
Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. 3 points is all Nicholls State is able to put on the board, and at times move here and there. But bottom line is points were not put on the board, and some takeaways to go with it.
Absolutely, and we offensively needed to complement those turnovers, and had the one that got reversed, which was really close. But yeah, defensively played really well. They did a nice job of milking the clock and trying to get as much out of that as they could to keep the offense on the field and try to kind of dial up a couple plays offensively for them. And that guy that came in did a nice job, and I hope the other quarterback, I hope he's okay, obviously.
Yeah. You guys never gave Henderson or Abear really a chance to get comfortable back there because of the pressure by your defensive line.
Yeah, which is always key when you can get there with 3 guys. That you can mix coverages, you can protect some guys in the back end, and I thought the defense did a great job all day.
Special teams, your thoughts on
that? Hit and miss. We saw a touchback. I don't know. We had to maybe explain that rule there for a little bit for some of the people, but which was good. But then we would try not to kick the ball out of bounds multiple times. Made a field goal, which was good to get off the schneid that way, and just give Alejandro a little confidence. Our plan going in was to alternate Alejandro and Matt in place kick situations, and we never punted, right? So that never became an issue, but Alejandro has been practicing really well all fall. So, okay. And in the coverage game, you get in a situation like this, and there were a couple guys we taking out starters and getting to your second or third guy on a certain unit. Those guys just need to know that they're a starter. They're just as valuable as a starter. And we talk to our guys, you're an Oregon football player. You're not a backup R3 or a third string tailback. You play football at Oregon. We're going to ask 100% out of you, whatever that role is.
Hats off to a scrappy Nicholls team. I mean, they played hard, and like you talked about, there were a couple of drives in there, 4th and shorts, and yet they stood right up against you and went toe to toe. They're very scrappy and played really hard.
Yeah, those guys will be fine. They did a really nice job, I thought, on both sides of the ball, and it's tough, man. You ask K-State that these wins aren't guaranteed, and you never know the emotional side of things of how your team's going to come in prepared. I thought I thought, again, our preparation to this point has been outstanding. Really happy with how our guys performed and worked during fall camp, and now it's where you get in the game routine, and so it'll be the first kind of normal game week coming up.
And ask you a little question about the Terrence Mitchell ejection, and not about whether you agree or disagree with it. That's not the point, but just the interpretation of it. Is that to be reviewed automatically, or is that up to the officials of whether they want to or not?
Well, it's my understanding that the foul itself is not reviewable. The ejection is reviewable, and the criteria to eject is the part where there's a little bit of a gray area. And basically, if the guy is ejected, if there's any contact to the head by any other part of the, in that case, the defender, it's an ejection. And so, we've been harping on that all fall camp, and it looked like a foul from my angle, and we need to coach it better. That's on us. And I thought there were a couple other times where they did a good job of not. Now the officials are. It's not a great situation to put our officials in. I'm sure they'll revisit this, but for the time being, it's the rule, and we're gonna play by the rules.
Great. Well, a trip back east to ACC country, the Virginia Cavaliers, and it's going to be a long trip cross country, and obviously another step forward and step up as well.
Definitely. I don't know. They play right now, or maybe ongoing
Yeah, they were
right
in a
now.
weather delay for quite some time. I don't know if they've resumed that with BYU.
Yeah. Okay. We never had that problem here at Autzen Stadium, right? But yeah, looking forward to that, and looking forward to getting started on those guys, and it's the next challenge.
Okay, Coach. Well, congratulations on your first victory. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks, Jorgie.
All right, Jerry, back up to you.
General questions for Coach Helfrich. If you raise your hand, I'll call you out.
That's a lot of questions right there.
Go ahead. No mic? Okay. I don't believe we have a mic. Hey, Mark, D'Anthony, 11 carries, 100 and something yards, I think, in the first half. You went with him strictly, running back right out of the gate. Clearly, he was your starter. There was some impression that Byron would get a lot of carries too, as perhaps a featured running back. Is D'Anthony just that far ahead of Byron as a running back right now?
No, D'Anthony's a dynamic player, number one, and Byron's a really good tailback, and I don't know who gave you the impression that was going to be the case, but we're going to feature both those guys in different ways, and kind of game plan by game plan. The defense can dictate a little bit of, there were a couple runs today when we pulled the ball when Brian was in there, and we handed it off when D'Anthony was in there, and so you can skew some carries that way, but very happy with where both those guys are all around. Byron made a huge pickup in the protection game where we should have had a touchdown and didn't run the right route, and so that's kind of one of those unsung things that he did really well today. But yeah, love Byron Marshall.
Coach, your emotions today. First game as head coach. You're 1-0. How's it feel? Retired? 1,000%?
Am I tired? What was the last part?
Retired 1,000%?
I'm considering it. I have to talk to my accountant, Mr. O'Neill, in the background from Price Waterhouse. But no, it was great. It's just a tremendous sense of confidence being around our guys, being around our staff, and just a great team win. Happy that we played well at times in every phase to get over the first one and go from here.
Was there a moment though tonight where you stopped, looked around, and thought, "Man, I'm the head coach in this team"?
Whenever I talk to Aaron Fentress, I usually get that feeling. No, there hasn't been, and it's about our team. It's about our team, and we've got a bunch of great guys on our team, and it's fun to be around those guys. To be in the locker room or be on the sideline with some of those guys that are happy about the whole situation is awesome.
Two questions. One quick one, I think. Any concern about Terrence not being available next week, the way you understand it?
The way I understand the rule, yeah, he's ejected. This is the game. If the foul happens in the second half, then it's this game and the first half. That's my understanding. Do we have any officials?
The times they punted and you guys moved deep.
Yeah.
Was there any thought about going to another quarterback at that point? You stuck with Marcus to get you out of the end zone at that point? Were you guys stick with Marcus?
We had a couple. It had nothing to do with field position. We wanted to kind of leave with a better taste in our mouth on offense before we started substituting the whole way. And glad that we finished the way we did.
Coach, what do you know about this team that you didn't know yesterday?
I think after we watch the film, we'll know more about guys like Rodney Prevost or Cameron Hunt, who I thought did some really good things at times. All those guys that were kind of in that unproven mode, and that's been kind of the story throughout the tail end of fall camp. Is our veteran guys have practiced really well. It's the freshmen, newcomers type guys that we need to, whatever. I mean, we had a couple guys going. We have a thing called Fast Friday. And we had a couple guys almost kill themselves on Fast Friday, which we were going fast, which that's good, but we don't want to injure guys on Friday. And we almost lost. We had one guy that couldn't play today because of that. So we just need to learn how to practice, learn how to kind of just our mode of operations and go from here.
Coach, how did you feel about this pace?
Okay, a little. I thought defensively they were very well rested, given how those guys ran their offense. Offensively, a little ragged at times. Could have played a little bit more cleanly and just in alignments, assignments. Had a couple busts, which mental errors. In a first game, that's one of the things as a coach you try to keep it simple to a certain degree because there's going to be a little bit of a higher level of anxiety for some of those new guys. We had a couple veterans make a couple of those mistakes, so that's never good to see, but we'll get it cleaned up.
Hey, Coach, did you at any point last night get jitters? Did you lose any sleep about having your first game today?
I didn't last night, and I think again that just goes back to our team and our preparation. I think if we haven't had the fall camp that we've had, and we don't have the staff that we have, and the people around this program, there'd be a lot more anxiety. But I believe in our team 100%.
How are you going to celebrate tonight?
I don't know. Go to Coos Bay World in the house. Ed Miletus is a subscriber to Coos Bay World online.
Mark, back here in the back, we talked a lot in fall camp about the communication between you and Coach Frost. How did that communication go today, and how do you feel about the game that Coach Frost called?
Thought he did a great job. That was one thing that we're working through. We haven't done it in a game before, and it's good that a game of this nature kind of played itself out, and you got through a couple of those kinks where I'm yelling on top of him and he's yelling on top of me, and that's a good thing. That's how we kind of like to do it. But he did a great job. The stuff that we need to clean up, it has nothing to do with that part of it.
Yeah. Mark, last Saturday after practice, I'd asked you what you thought about going out and go back to this first game. When coming out of the tunnel for the first time as a head coach. What was going through your mind today? The first time you walked out on the field.
I had my arm around Marcus Mariota, and I felt really good.
You've been in the box. What was it like to be on the sideline?
That's weird. Yeah, that's my first game since 1996. 96 of being on the sideline. It's different. It's different. But just more the game management part of it, that part of it is a little bit different, but it's a completely different energy to be, obviously with our crowd and our players, which that part's a lot more fun.
What point did you make the decision to go Alejandro skate versus that pre-game time you're watching warm-ups?
Last couple days as a punter, is that what you're talking about? Well, we were going to alternate those guys, so we didn't. I mean, he went out there first, and so I don't know if there was a seniority coin flip or anything, but what's that?
Just impressions after the fact now, how they
They were good, made them, so that part's good. It'll be ongoing competition, I think, from here.
Coach, you brought Colt Lyerl in the backfield. Is that your third option now, or is that a package you're going to keep down the road?
He's, again, a guy that's really dynamic with the ball in his hands and has had an outstanding fall camp. This was his best fall camp of his career, and we're trying to get. That's what's always tough. People ask, "What about this guy's number of carries and this guy's number of carries and this guy's number of carries?" Those all end up going somewhere, and we just wanted to get him a couple in there.
You envision Thomas Tanner, Tribune,
Scott Frost is back.
I do envision that, yes, sir. Yeah.
Can you talk a little more just about how D'Anthony got things started for you guys, and then just being able to have the luxury of 3 guys going over 100 yards rushing?
Who was the third?
Marshall and Mariota.
Oh, Marcus. Okay, I wasn't thinking him. Yeah, D'Anthony is special. I mean, he had a talk about guys that had great fall camps. He had an outstanding camp. Really grew up kind of helping out Thomas and some of these other guys of just how to practice, how to do. You know, it's amazing how much more mature he is. His approach to practice has been you know, just everything about him is better, and that's a good thing when you're that good to begin with. But again, he's a guy that needs the ball in his hands.
You're talking about how the luxury of having so many linebackers to play. After you've seen this first game, was there anyone you noticed that really stood out that you were most pleased with?
No, I'll have to watch the film tomorrow and go through that part of it. But I thought those guys, you know, they were changing some stuff on them that they hadn't, you know, prepared for. And Rodney Hardrick and Derek Malone did a great job of when it was a kind of a rotation of they were kind of trying to keep one of those guys in the game the whole time to keep everybody organized and on the right page. But whether it was, you know, Joe Walker and Rodney Prevost in with them to have a little bit of an anchor. But overall, I thought those guys played really well. You know, we didn't tackle great, you know, which is always a concern early. We got to wrap up better, finish tackles better, got to, you know, finish blocks better. We could have had several picks that we went through our hands, and so all those are obviously things that you wish you could do differently.
Did you get the feeling that Mark was a little hyped up when the game started with like a couple balls were sailing on him, and what did you do to kind of settle him down as the game wore on?
I wasn't worried about him. I mean, the two balls backed up. I can't remember exactly where the ball was. Maybe 15-ish there on the what is that? The east end. I'm that horrible at my directions right now. The other end from where we are right now. It was just a mechanical issue. And you know, sometimes he'll get ahead of himself. His mind works so rapidly. He's thinking, and his body's not quite with his mind. And so that's something again is easily correctable.